Okay, this little video is just on the themes that we're going to be covering in this course, and I think it's important that you understand what I'm doing as I'm going through the course, and it's not just a case of trying to learn some chemistry, but what are the things that we really need to be able to keep in mind as we're going through. So the first theme I'm going to talk to you about is this one here, language and symbols. One of the things that I always find a bit surprising when I start teaching someone chemistry for the first time is they'll often say to me, wow, it's a bit like learning a new language. In fact, it's a lot like learning a new language. You have to come to grips with using words in a particular way, and you have to come to grips with using particular symbols. Um, in our case, I need you to get up to speed on the language and symbols pretty quickly. In fact, that's the major focus on the first 5 lectures of this course, so that when I'm communicating things to you, you understand what I'm talking about. So, for example, if you look at this chemical equation here, that means something. It's not just letters written down on a piece of paper or on a computer screen. That actually means something. And I need you to be able to read, if you like, between the lines there as well. This is actually an issue when you're learning chemistry for the first time, is that there's a lot of material that's actually written down and implied, and it's not actually made clear unless you can understand how those symbols are used. So if, for example, you're looking at this here, H2, so it's a capital H and a subscript 2, I need you to be able to understand exactly what that means, right? That it's, for example, it's a covalent compound, it's a molecule, in this case it's actually in the gaseous form, and there's 2 lots of it. Now that takes some time to learn. You need to learn that vocabulary, you need to practice it, you need to also make sure you can use the symbols, and that takes a little bit of time. So it's not surprising that it's going to take up quite a bit of this course, about the first 5 lectures, as I said. Okay, so that's the first bit. By the way, what this means, of course, is that if you were, for example, learning a foreign language like Japanese, for example, um, really the only way in which you can effectively learn it is you need to be able to practice it. You just can't sit there and passively absorb it and then all of a sudden start speaking Japanese. It doesn't work that way. And it's the same here with chemistry. So you need to work on this, to write, to practice, to use discussions with your colleagues, with me, etc., so that you can use the language and symbols of chemistry appropriately. Okay, the next theme for this course is why, not what. This is particularly um, um, focusing on one of the issues that I see with students who come into this chemistry course who've done chemistry before. The problem is often this. When you're studying chemistry, particularly in high school, for example, it's not unusual to be told something um, and for example, that atoms consist of protons, neutrons, and electrons, but you're then told what an atom consists of. You're not told why we think that is the case. And it's very easy, if you've studied chemistry before, to confuse um, what with why, right? And this is something that I need to be able to change around with you for this material. So I need you to be able to not only tell me that atoms consist of protons, neutrons, and electrons, but actually understand something about the evidence that tells us why that is the case. Okay, and I'll be employing that particular theme through the whole course. There's no doubt about that. There's just some examples for you. So if you've done chemistry, and you're looking at the course topics for this course, you'll notice that they're very similar to what you've probably done before, but the approach is going to be extremely different. The last theme, which is important, and this ties in with this why not what theme, is that where I can, I will be giving you evidence for why we think that particular things are going on. For example, that again, that atoms have protons, neutrons, and electrons. There is a reason for this, right? And that is based on evidence. And that evidence, of course, arises through scientific experiments, etc., and data and information. It's not just dreamt up, it is actually the consequence of a huge amount of work. So as we go through this course, again, I'll be trying very, very hard to make sure you understand where this this information is coming from, which is going to aid in your understanding of chemistry. Okay, they're the themes for the course. We will leave it there.